Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Tuesday, April the 12th, Ian Cameron and Jimmy Murphy. We should have Andrew and Alex along momentarily as well. We are here for a massive Tuesday NHL card. You can't ask for a bigger NHL slate than this. Well, you could. There's actually a couple teams not playing, but that's it. 14 games on tap tonight in the NHL, 28 teams in action. It should be one hell of a Tuesday night, which is a great night, obviously, to have a bet cast, isn't it? When there's 14 games on tap. And we will be having one tonight, our usual Tuesday night Ice Guys betcast, starting at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time as usual. Make sure you join us. And again, if you want to be on the betcast stream with us, just send me a DM and we will make sure we get the StreamYard link sent out to you before the betcast begins. So looking forward to that taking place tonight for sure. And like I said, just a phenomenal night to be doing a betcast with 14 games on tap. Let's get going right into the card. We got 14 games, no time to waste. We have to move with haste. We'll start with the St. Louis Blues and the Boston Bruins. The Bruins minus 130 home favorites, 6 the total. This opened as high as minus 150 on Boston. So there has been lots of line movement toward the St. Louis Blues in that game. And I did contribute to some of that line movement. I did grab St. Louis. Actually, I grabbed it overnight because I figured that price had to move just a little bit with how well St. Louis has been playing. I didn't know it was going to move this much, but a lot of it is due to the fact that there are some absences and there are some personnel issues for the Bruins going into this game tonight against St. Louis, namely that David Pastrnak is still out, will miss yet another game. Hampus Lindholm on the blue line will also not suit up tonight for the Bruins, as will Matt Grzelcyk. He's also ruled out tonight for Boston. So, anytime you have two of your starting 6 defensemen out, you're concerned. There's no question about that, especially when on the other side, you're taking on a St. Louis Blues team that I've said this many times this year, Jimmy, they're the best offensive team I think they've had in years. And boy, are they playing like it right now, this Blues team. They've won 5 in a row. They've scored a minimum of 4 goals in each of those last 5 games, all of them victories, 6 against Calgary, 5 against Zona, 4 against Seattle, 4 against Minnesota, 6 against the New York Islanders in their last games. There's no doubt this is a Blues team, whether it's power play, whether it's 5-on-5. The offense is feeling it right now. If you're the Bruins now, you're looking at a little bit of a depleted situation now on the back end tonight, trying to defend this team. Not easy, of course. We mentioned, Jimmy and I were talking before the show about the fact that it's Torrey Krug's return to Boston now as a member of the St. Louis Blues. So, he'll be charged up for sure, probably to have a big game. But, you look at this blue line tonight, it's Forbort and McAvoy, Riley and Carlo, and Clifton and Josh Brown is what we're looking at here for the blue line tonight for Boston. And when I look at that third pair in particular, Clifton and Brown, it's the pair I can make hay against if I'm Craig Berube here tonight in the St. Louis Blues. So, like I said, I grabbed the price early. Good thing I did because it certainly moved in the St. Louis direction. Even at plus 110, I would go with that side still, even though you've lost a little bit of line value, 20 cents worth of it compared to where it opened at the open. But I think Blues get the job done. You're going to tell me you can get a nice plus price here in this spot with the team that's won 5 in a row and is lighting the lamp the way the Blues are. Robert Thomas, by the way, I'll throw his name out there. You got to keep taking ways to bet him, finding ways to bet him in terms of props, whether it's to score a goal, collect a point, scored even 2 points. He's hit that a couple of times. He's been magnificent lately for the St. Louis Blues. But I like the Blues here as a road underdog. And keep in mind for Boston, too, they played Washington, they played Tampa. They played some big games in their own division, in their own conference lately. Now you're outside the conference. It just feels like maybe this is that situation where maybe you don't get Boston's best tonight. We'll see. Jimmy, what do you think here? Blues, Bruins.
Yeah, well, like I said to you off there, I went on the Blues in this kind of a good situational bet right here. The Bruins coming off a long road trip, Blues coming in riding the win streak, and also, like you mentioned there, Torrey Krug's return, first time to Boston since he signed with the Blues back in October of 2020. He's going to be revved up. I think it's a great prop to get him at least to take him to get a point. I would imagine maybe even a goal. Yep. The Blues like to play in Boston, obviously. Something pretty cool happened to them a couple of years back there. So
I think a certain Stanley Cup victory in that building. Correct.
It's not like going into Boston scares them at all. So, they're not going to be intimidated by any crowd there. But, I just like I like the form the Blues are in right now. I don't like the form the Bruins are in. And you mentioned all the injuries too. And I think that's the major factor there too as well. You look at their power play right now, the Boston Bruins, since David Pastrnak went down, are 0 for 11 in the 3 games that he's missed. I believe they're 0 for 16 in their last 16 power play attempts. So their power play is not clicking. They're missing him there. And then you take away Lindholm there. I mean, they were starting to form a great pair with Lindholm and Charlie McAvoy. And now you're throwing Derek Forbett next to him, or some nights it's somebody else, but it's just that defense is out of sorts when they don't have Lindholm and McAvoy at the top. Everything, and obviously Grzelcyk is out as well. Usually he pairs with Carlo in a second pairing. So the Bruins are banged up. And then you put a Jeremy Swayman in that who's really been struggling lately, guys. Everyone was tooting his horn a few weeks back. He won the Rookie of the Month in February, and then
Allmark's closed the gap on him now.
Yeah, he was playing great in March, and I wrote about that last week. Yeah, they don't know who their starter is going to be for the playoffs yet. Right now, I would think it would be Allmark. So things change in a hurry, and right now, Swayman is struggling. So I just think it's a perfect opportunity for the Blues to go in there and grind it out. I like a low-scoring game. I know the Blues have been scoring, but I just think it's going to be one of those grinding type games. Give me the Blues on the money line in this, and I'll go with the under 6 as well.
All right, there we go. Blues and under for Jimmy in this one with the Blues and the Bruins here in a pretty good East versus West matchup. Andrew McInnis with us now. Andrew, what do you like here, St. Louis, Boston?
Yeah, you guys touched on it, and I think that the price has gone down for a reason. You look at the opening number in this one, obviously depending on where you're shopping, but things have changed big time. I mean, you could get even a bigger price earlier in the day on the Blues. I do like them. I don't love it, but I like the over kind of, which I especially in any Bruins game, it always throws me off when Jimmy and I are on different sides on anything. But the Blues are scoring goals right now, and with the Bruins being off that road trip, maybe we could see some sloppiness and stuff. And even if they do get that win, I think it won't be in low scoring fashion. So we've seen 6, 5, 4 goals for the Blues recently, and it's been against a mixed bag of teams, but we could see some goals from them. But yeah, I like the Blues, but I'll tell you guys, I like them a lot more at the plus 130 with 125 range, not really the plus 110 here. But yeah, lots of games today, guys. Look forward to breaking these down. I'll keep things short and sweet today.
Yeah, and even me, that it's always there's no one that needs to be reminded to try to keep things as brief as possible more than me. It's me that I can spend 30 minutes on one game, so it's always for me. All right, Ian, get your points across to the viewers and move it. Get a move on here. And with that in mind, we will. It's Anaheim and Florida. We've got Florida minus 450 here, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. I really am not going to go into too much. I'm not going to regurgitate on a 14-game card everything. But, with player props, what I like for Florida and what I've liked for a while, it's been Carter Verhaeghe. It's been Mason Marchment for value. Huberdeau, you got to take him right now because he's absolutely on fire at the moment. Those are the guys you target for the Panthers. In games like this, too, when you got a team that probably won't keep the puck out of their own net like Anaheim, Barkov and over 1.5 points is always live, in a game like this. So I'll mention that. If you're going to target Anaheim props, you start and end with Zegras and Terry. Simple as that. Those are the two guys that are absolutely carrying the offense right now. John Gibson confirmed in net, by the way, for the Ducks. Bobrovsky for Florida. By the way, Husso in net for St. Louis. I don't know if I mentioned that, but we expected Husso, and obviously he's been great, the better goalie for St. Louis lately. But yeah, for Anaheim, Florida, Gibson, Bobrovsky, the goaltending matchup, I'm just keeping it simple here. Florida probably wins, but there's no value. I think something like a 5-2, 6-2, 6-3 kind of game, it goes over the total. I just have no faith in Anaheim defensively, keeping Florida in check here. You got a rare 6.5 in this game as well with Florida. And this is actually a value total because Florida's been 7-7-7, lucky number 7 across the board for several games in a row now in terms of their totals. It's actually a nice little bit of value here to get a rare 6.5, considering what we've seen with Florida games lately. So that's all for me. Over 6.5, very straightforward, very cut and dried, very simple decision for me to make this bet. Jimmy, what do you think here? Ducks, Panthers.
I'm going to jump right on that with you too. Give me that over, and I'll take the team total over for the Panthers as well.
Yeah. Look at Carolina, right? Struggling. going into the game against Anaheim, especially offensively. Like they hadn't exactly been lighting it up. And guess who was the nice elixir for those issues? John Gibson and the Anaheim Ducks on Sunday night. So good luck trying to shut down Florida. But I think Anaheim will chip in. Florida's rarely ever going to shut you down completely. They did a nice job against Nashville, but that was Spencer Knight. They're not exactly a team that I always trust to keep a team below, 3 goals. So I think Anaheim chips in and contributes to Andrew, Anaheim, Florida.
Yeah, I don't have a lot on this game, guys, but I think that if I was to play this game here, I would look towards the over 2 first period plus 110. It's kind of nice to sometimes wait and get the best number like we talk about with Alex, but sometimes I think that you're not going to be able to have the ability to wait to get the better number. This one might be, goals from the get-go. And of course, like in the first period over, I also do like that full game, but I'm going to isolate the first period at the 2, which will give me plus 110. And Florida hasn't been known for these, spots to kind of play down a competition, but the Anaheim Ducks could get up for this one. And if they're going to play their best hockey, it's going to be in the first period. Through 60 minutes, we've seen Florida do it dozens of times, but specifically on these 4-goal comebacks a couple different times. And they get better as the game progresses, what I'm trying to say. So first period over, I think both teams could score as well. Could be a good little prop, but over 2 first period for me.
All right, scoring early for Andrew in this one, like an over 2 in the first period. Buffalo and Toronto. We got to the Leafs, another massive price on them. Surprise, surprise. Minus 475 home favorites. 7 the total in this game. And with this game, I said, I better jump on the total before it moves. And I did overnight. I took 6.5 minus 125. And sure enough, I wake up at 7. So I did get over 6.5 last night. Overnight, I should say. 7, I'd lean that way, but there are better bets you can make now. And because it's not just that I took, I've added on a couple of Buffalo opinions here. Look, the Buffalo team total over has been treating us nicely until we got obviously to the game Sunday against Tampa. They got shut out 5-0, but I think they respond. You've still got a team that's played some pretty competitive hockey for the last several weeks, Buffalo. This is their Stanley Cup final. We kind of hinted at that, Andrew and I, on the show yesterday. This is always Buffalo's Stanley Cup final. Playing the Toronto Maple Leafs. They always get up for this game. They're always excited. They always want to put their best foot forward. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, it doesn't matter if you put the best Leaf roster against the worst Sabres roster or the best Sabres roster against the worst Leafs roster. This is always a tight, very hard-fought, competitive series year in and year out. That's just what it is with the Sabres and the Leafs. And there are a lot of, emotional factors, intangible factors that I think add up for the Sabres. First of all, they get Eric Shalgren in net, who's going to get a second straight start, and I'm going to dare him to play as well as he did against Montreal. He did play very well, especially in the third period, but I'll dare him to do that again. That's number 1. Number 2, if you read quotes from Granato, you read quotes from everybody on that team, Buffalo, there is a real rallying around this whole Owen Power debut tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. Everybody's excited. Everybody wants to see this kid in action. First overall pick. Everybody apparently the practice was spirited yesterday. They were all excited to get a glimpse of Owen, in practice, knowing he's going to make his Buffalo Sabres debut tonight. Obviously a guy that's going to be a pillar and cornerstone defenseman of the franchise, they hope, for many years to come. And to me, that fires up Buffalo even more in a game like this here tonight against the Leafs. So I think they're very live once again. I cashed a puck line with Montreal against Toronto. They clinched the playoff spot. I know positioning is still up for grabs. They do want to finish second in the Atlantic and secure home ice in the first round, Toronto, no question. And Buffalo is obviously, like any team, going to be in tough to stop Matthews and Marner right now, the way that both of those guys are playing. But I think Buffalo here makes this a game. It looks like in terms of their goaltending situation, it's expected to be Craig Anderson, but not confirmed. But Anderson, I expect he will play because he's actually played decently against Toronto a few times this year. I'm going to go with that Buffalo team total, right back to it, even though it fell short for me against Tampa. Buffalo team total over 2.5, even money. I like Buffalo plus 1.5, puck line at plus 150. What a great price that is. And just a small sprinkle on the money line as well. But I like the puck line more just for a little security in case it's a 1-goal game, which I could easily see happen because guess what? We've had 3 head-to-head meetings this year, Buffalo, Toronto. Buffalo's won 2. The one that Toronto won was by 1 goal. And they scored it, I think, in the final minute of that game. So no evidence that the Leafs can beat the Sabres by margin this year. So It's Buffalo, Buffalo, and a little more Buffalo for yours truly tonight. Jimmy, what do you think here, Sabres and Leafs?
You know what? I'm looking at this game right now. I agree with you. I mean, like, look, Buffalo's had their number, but I'm kind of thinking the other way, and I'm going the opposite way of you because I'm reading the comments from the Maple Leafs and their players saying how, this is a revenge game for us. We're sick and tired of losing to the Buffalo Sabres and being a punchline of jokes because we can't beat one of the worst teams in the league. Obviously, this Buffalo team continues to get better, though. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means, but I'm going to go with the Leafs in regulation on this one. You get a little better value there, not much, but I just think that's the way to go right now. With Toronto Maple Leafs, I think are playing some great hockey, and I'm going to ride the Austin Matthews train. Give me Matthews to score a goal.
I can't argue with that.
I got to give a shout out to everybody that says that there's no value in taking guys at minus prices to score a goal.
Yeah.
That's the example right there. I mean, it should be case dismissed to anybody that's chirped me in the past for taking guys at minus 110 to score a goal, because this guy's like minus 140 to score a goal and he'll give you 3. So
yeah, exactly.
No, it's absolutely true. Austin Matthews, how are you going to tell everyone, regardless of the price, don't bet this guy? It's a bad bet to bet him to score right now. I mean, it's just, how do you say that with just what he's doing right now? Obviously, he's going to get 60 goals. The problem is they're adjusting this heavily now. We're talking minus 250 in some spots for him to score a goal tonight. How about that? I don't think I've ever seen that before. I know I've never seen that before. An anytime goal scorer prop, minus 250 is what we're looking at here for Austin.
And imagine taking him not to score, because some books offer that. You'd be just on your toes the whole game.
You absolutely would. There's no question. I still think Tage Thompson, I think he scored in almost every game against the Leafs this year too. Plus 250. Yeah, I'll put something on that for sure tonight in this game. Jimmy does bring up a good point. The Leafs are. This is not a cinch that Buffalo's going to keep this little magic they've got going against Toronto tonight, because Toronto's sick of losing. I firmly agree with that Toronto is probably sick of losing here in this one. But
was the last game, the outdoor game, Ian, was that the last time they played?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe it was.
That's still going to be fresh in their mind, man. I mean, that was embarrassing for the Leafs.
Yeah, and then they lost at home to Buffalo and Toronto just before that outdoor game.
Right.
So
I'll keep it short. For all the reasons what Jimmy said, I'm on the Leafs minus 120 in the first period to win it. Not money line.
I'll jump on that too. Yeah. I'll get on that too.
That's the best value, because it's 250 for the regulation and minus 1.5, minus 170 for the puck line. So if the only smidget of value you can find is like a minus 115 or minus 120 on the minus.
And it's like Jimmy said, we can never guess. And even Jimmy talking to these players, we can't, even be in the locker rooms, the players are so media trained that we don't know what the hell they're actually thinking. They could give Jimmy a perfect answer when he asks him a question in a media scrum. But it seems like these players give more shits today for this Leafs game, for this last Sabres game. It just, for all the professional words I just said there, but it seems like seriously, this team is, because they've played some big, tough games recently, the Maple Leafs have. But, is this game going to really affect them in the standings? That could, but I feel like they just want to beat Buffalo, and I'm going to take them in the first period to win, because, if Buffalo is a good game, I don't think it'll be
I'm going to switch my bet, guys, too. Now that I'm really feeling Toronto, I'm going to take them at minus 2.5 as opposed to the regulation. Then you can get some value there. I think they can beat them by 3 goals. I just think this is a big confidence builder for the.
That's even money at plus 100, by the way, minus 2.5. Yep.
So give me that.
I don't often recommend this, but I actually think the combo bet could be in play today. Yeah. You could take the alternative 5.5 over, and then the Maple Leafs on the puck line or something like that.
Right.
Because I'm not saying Buffalo's going to get shut out, like Jimmy said. So I could easily see like a, 5-3 type 6-2, some type of victory like that. Hopefully
Toronto and over.
For Ian.
Toronto and over is minus 135. Toronto money line and over 5.5 is minus 135. So even that's not bad. It's not terrible. We'll see. That actually might be that might be a decent. The price isn't the best, minus 135, but Toronto money line and over 5.5, not bad. So there we go. We got a couple on the Leafs, and I'm liking Buffalo here to keep their nice little run going against Toronto. All right, next up, Philly and Washington. Washington minus 240, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Nice weekend for Washington. Just when I'm thinking, what's wrong with this team? They weren't playing well, and they beat the Penguins and the Bruins back-to-back Saturday and Sunday. So credit to Washington. And for Washington now, they're in a situation where they can still move on up out of one of the wild card positions and end up maybe catching Pittsburgh, for third in the Metro. That is still very possible. They're only 4 back of Pittsburgh right now in that Metro Division race. And of course, if they catch Pittsburgh, they get out of that number 2 wild card spot where you maybe have a first-round matchup with the Florida Panthers, awaiting you, which I'm sure they don't love having to maybe face that team in the first round, Washington. But nevertheless, Washington playing good hockey. Philadelphia here, on the other hand, the effort continues to be there for Philly, but they just make way too many mistakes defensively. They did it again against Anaheim, 5-3, losing to the Ducks. They are now 2-6 in their last 8 games. The only wins were against the Rangers in a shootout where they got outplayed, and a win against Columbus. So, when I look at this game, it would be probably Washington winning it. But I do want to point out with Washington, Hagelin's out, Orlov questionable, and Nick Backstrom as well. For this game. So something you want to keep in mind. More than anything, I'm targeting maybe the over here simply because of this Washington overrun. It's been, pretty insane how this team has been trending over the total. 9-1 the last 10 games against the East in terms of going over the total. In their last 10 games overall, they're 7-2-1 to the over their last 10 games. It's hard to argue with any of those numbers. We know the Flyers give up goals in bunches. So for me, it would be a small play on the over and not much other than that. What do you think here, Jimmy? Flyers, Capitals?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Caps here, guys. I mean, they're just playing some great hockey right now. Obviously, watched them when they played the Bruins the other day and beat them. I just like the way they're moving it right now. I mean, this is a team that, let's face it, I think you could argue at times is really underachieved this season, but they seem to have snapped out of that. They seem to be in rhythm right now. So give me the Caps on the puck line, a Jimmy puck line for you there.
All right, Jimmy puck line for Jimmy with this one. Washington -1.5. And by the way, that is currently at +100, even money. Capitals on the puck line. It looks like Carter Hart, Ilya Samsonov going to be your goaltending matchup. And I'm not sold on Samsonov completely just yet. A couple of those goals against Pittsburgh, even though they won, and he played very good in the third period, but a couple of those goals in the first period were brutal goals to give up by him. So he's still got some proving ground for me to show that he's got his game back. And he was very good in the third, but also 2 of those goals in the first against Pittsburgh. Got to stop him. What do you think here, Andrew? Philly, Washington?
I'm passing here. I just don't. I wanted to bet on the Capitals, but I'm priced out here, so yeah. I'm off this game, guys.
Yeah, welcome to regular season hockey. In the last 2-3 weeks of the season, you're priced out as something you like. Yeah, it happens a lot. Unfortunately, it happens far too often for anyone's liking, to be quite honest. All right, Carolina Hurricanes, New York Rangers. This is certainly going to be one of the games I'm focused in and dialed into the most during the betcast tonight. Canes and Rangers, first place showdown for in the Metro. Carolina -125, road favorites, 5.5 the total. I'm on the blue shirts here. I am. I mean, I like what I'm seeing out of them more than what I'm seeing out of Carolina right now. It's obviously a huge for the Rangers, considering they're 2 points behind Carolina for this first place spot. But what I've talked about many times now when Rangers games have been on the card, the Rangers' advanced numbers are improving. They're actually dictating play. They're taking the, they're possessing the puck more. They're in the offensive zone more. A lot of that is, the bottom line is, I would say the last, 7 to 10 games, their stats indicate they're not relying on Igor, I should say, Shesterkin, bailing them out, as much as maybe they did at times earlier in the season. So I like the way the Rangers game is trending. And when you look at Carolina, you look at them on the road lately, you guys. Look at what we've seen here. They lose to the Islanders, or they lose, and they've had some tough times they lose to Buffalo on the road. They've had some tough games away from home lately. They lose to Tampa on the road in that game. They get whipped by Washington 6-1. They're actually only 2-6, you guys, in their last 8 road games, the Carolina Hurricanes. So that does concern me as well a little bit going into this game against the Rangers tonight. The bottom line is you got a Rangers team that's full of confidence right now as a slight home underdog. To me, that's the value and I like what I've seen out of New York, and I think they get the victory here against this Hurricanes team that's just been a little bit off. And look, even the win against Anaheim, it's not like they cruised to victory. That game was 3-2 halfway through the third period, and they put it away with a couple of late goals. It's not like they comfortably whipped that Anaheim team that's reeling right now. They were still in a battle to eventually put away the Ducks in that game. So, I like the Rangers here. I just like the way they're trending. And Alex is not on the show here today, but I'll tell you what. He would be the first to point out the Rangers' track record against Carolina. They have absolutely owned this team. I can't explain why, but it's just been unbelievable how head-to-head, long-term in this series history, it's been all Rangers. And just in the short term, they're 7-1-1 in their, in the last 9 head-to-head games against the Hurricanes. But there's no doubt they have been long-term the better of these two teams. And by the way, Carolina at MSG, 5-21 the last 26 visits to Madison Square Garden. So it's been one of those tough places for them to win. Jimmy, what do you think here, Canes and Rangers?
I think I'm going with a reverse Jimmy puck line on this one. Give me the Rangers at -1.5.
All right, Rangers -1.5. The alternative puck line that is for Jimmy with this one. That is going to be, by the way, as I bring the prices up here, +230. There you go, +230 with the New York Rangers on that alternative puck line here in this game. And what's been the difference, guys? And Andrew, you can speak on this too in a sec. The difference has been they got Capo Caco back now. They bring in Andrew Kopp, who's been an immediate great find. Frank Vetrano has not only burst onto the scene since they got him, but he's been producing for the Rangers as well. They've got their depth forward, issues. I don't want to say fully corrected, but they're in a hell of a lot better position in terms of their forward depth now compared to before the deadline, just thanks to Andrew Kopp and Frank Vetrano being on this team. It's helped significantly, just deepen and lengthen the lineup up front for the Rangers. Andrew, what do you like here? Carolina, New York.
I'm going to look at it like this. The Hurricanes haven't played well recently at all. And the funny thing is, a lot of those games haven't been against elite teams. You want to talk about quotes from coaches or locker rooms. I think I've seen enough from Rod Brind'Amour to think this is a big game for them. They're still battling for spots in their division and in their spot in the playoffs. And, I don't much agree with the -125 here, but I've got a small play on Carolina. I'm living by the sword, dying by the sword here, guys, with the Hurricanes. It's every team goes through a rut, and the Hurricanes have picked the month of April so far to go through it. But yeah, I think the Rangers have played some really, really good games recently and some bigger ones as well. I think we got a big effort out of Carolina tonight. Moving forward over the next couple of days, they're a big buy team for me, but it's a tough team to go against, and I can't blame the underdog spot. I can't blame Jimmy for, his alternative bet for the value you get on that. I'm just kind of looking at this one and thinking, it could be a good, and I haven't gone against the Rangers often this year. I'll say that, but when I have, I've tried to pick my positions, and hopefully today is one of them.
That's nothing wrong with that. Carolina, we know Carolina when they're on their game, they're as good as anybody. It's just,
I like the under too, actually. Sorry.
The under. Yeah, I think it is actually. I do think this could be, 2-2, 2-1, 3-1. Definitely a good goal, especially if Shesterkin's good. I have no reason to not expect Shesterkin. I know it hasn't been confirmed yet, and I know they play the Flyers tomorrow night on a back-to-back, but there's no way they would put Shesterkin, save him for the Flyers, and not play him tonight against this Carolina team battling for first. So I'm not too worried about the fact that they've not confirmed it yet. I'm fully expecting Igor Shesterkin. I would be absolutely got to bust it out the shocked if it's Alexander Georgiev tonight, which I don't expect.
Who's been pretty good though recently.
He's been a little bit better lately. You're right about that. By the way, interesting about Freddie Anderson. He's had a great year, no question about that, for the Carolina Hurricanes. But lately, not as much. Minnesota, 3 goals, sub-900 save percentage. Florida, 3 goals allowed, 900 save percentage. 3 goals to Nashville, 900 save percentage. 3 goals to Philly in that game. 4 goals allowed to Washington, 879 save percentage. This is what Freddie Anderson kind of did last year. Remember, he started out so strong, and then late in the regular season, he kind of faded a little bit. Numbers dropped a little bit, and then in the playoffs, he was like the Leaf team in front of him and mediocre. and not totally reliable. So watch out for this with Carolina at playoff time. I know he's got a better blue line in front of him, but he's not been quite like Freddie Anderson was previous to, I would say, the early March. There's been a little bit of a drop off in his play. Not anything like he's not gone careening off a cliff or anything, but definitely there's been a little drop. Ottawa, Detroit next up. We've got Detroit minus 120, home favorite, 6.5 the total. I like Ottawa. I like goals. So Ottawa and over, 0-0 for me in this game, especially with getting Drake Batherson back. I think that's significant for the Ottawa Senators going into this game, and I'll take my chances. They can light up Thomas Greiss, who's had some great games, and he's been absolutely brutal in others. So it's kind of a little Russian roulette thing we've got going on with him. Not sure what we're going to get, but obviously getting Batherson back in the lineup is huge for the Ottawa Senators going into this game. And like I mentioned yesterday, two teams that are out of the playoffs, I'm interested in there being a ton of goals. Forsberg will be in net, by the way, for the Ottawa Senators tonight. And, he's had a pretty good season overall, but last couple starts, it's not been as good. He gave up 3 goals in 3 goals or more in each of his last 3 starts to Montreal, Nashville, and then the Rangers lit him up for 5 on Saturday night. So he hasn't been as good, but I think he can outplay Greiss. And I like Ottawa getting a very key cog up front and Drake Batherson back, especially with Stützle playing well. Josh Norris has been on fire for Ottawa lately. There's firepower that I think will be difficult for Detroit to contain. So I like Ottawa, even money here, and I like over 6.5. Jimmy, Sens, Red Wings.
Yeah, I'm liking the Senators here too. I'm actually going to take it a step further. Take the Ottawa Senators in regulation here for some fun value there. I like them to win this game.
All right, there we go. Like in Ottawa. Andrew, how about you? Ottawa, Detroit.
Yeah, let's make it a sweep. I like Ottawa as well. And I think that also you look at Batherson being back. I think that, not that this happens often, but especially a team like that, you see what just happened with Justin Barron with the Canadians. I mean, younger players, they get shut down if need be. The Ottawa Senators were not prepared to rush Drake Batherson back at all. And I think that he's going to be ready when he's back in. And, he was disappointed. Of course, anybody is, but the season he was having, I think he'll be ready to go tonight. I'm going to take him to score tonight. If we see him in the lineup, I'm taking him to score. I think we're going to get great value on him. And I don't think the odds makers will be ready for him to pick up where he left off. So I like that. And I like Ottawa to win this game because, again, they're a team that there's a lot of fight in that locker room. A lot of younger guys in there. And, they're playing for each other. They're not playing for a playoff spot right now. But I think that when you see older, look at San Jose, right? You got Logan Couture and Carlson yelling at each other or whatever the hell that was about. You're not going to see that with younger guys. I don't think. And, it might surprise people to think the younger guys are more mature in that aspect, but I think it's more so frustration from the older guys because they're used to being in the playoffs, whereas the younger guys just want to perform well for each other every single day. And I think we could still find that great motivation from Ottawa. So plus 100, good odds for me.
All right, there we go. Plus 100. So a sweep here. We all like Ottawa here in this one. All right, Pittsburgh Penguins, New York Islanders. We got even money here, minus 110 both sides, 5.5 the total. I'm not going to go into too much. It's a pass for me. I'm not involved. I thought I'd be on Pittsburgh, but now Evgeny Malkin's been suspended for 4 games. Obviously, the cross-check, which was vicious, by the way. Can't do that, and expect to not get reprimanded for it against Borowiecki in that Nashville game. But he's been suspended for 4 games. Pittsburgh's, like I say, been kind of mired in a little bit of a tailspin, although they did get a big, desperately needed win against Nashville to kind of snap out of it, fought their way through a game where they didn't really play well at all for 2 periods. And thankfully, Casey DeSmith bailed them out. And let's give Casey DeSmith credit. He's the reason Pittsburgh was able to get their legs under them in the 3rd period against Nashville, come back and win that game because they were awful in the first 2 periods. Nashville totally outplayed them. But Pittsburgh, he held them in the game. And with Jari now having lost each of his last 5 starts, very interesting here that Mike Sullivan is going back to Casey DeSmith tonight in net here against the New York Islanders tonight. So let's see if he can play like he did Sunday. I'm with guys that are backup goalies and they play well and they get another start in a row. I'm always on the fence whether I want to trust them again, because they're backup goalies for a reason. Can they be that strong in net again for a 2nd straight game? That's always the question mark. The Islanders have Sorokin in net, who's healthy again and who's a pretty good goalie when he's healthy. We saw what he did against Carolina last week. He played pretty well in that victory over the Hurricanes. it's one of those lines. And look, the money's come in on the Islanders. It's got kind of and Pittsburgh played big games against Washington and Nashville over the weekend. Now you're missing Malkin. You get where I'm going here. I don't think it's a cinch by any stretch for Pittsburgh. It feels like it's cheap. It feels like we should be on Pittsburgh, but I'm going to stay off. I don't love them necessarily in this spot. Jimmy, Penguins, Islanders.
I don't like this game at all. If I was going to do something, it may be something I jump on in game, but if I was going to do something, I'd lean to the Islanders, actually. I don't like the way that Pittsburgh's been playing lately. And obviously missing Malkin now, too, isn't going to help. So I'm just going to stay away, though, for now.
Yeah, and you know what's a problem, too, for Pittsburgh? Your Evan Rodriguez's and some of these depth forwards that were so good for you contributing early in the season, they've kind of disappeared. You know, there's a lot on the plate lately of Rust and Crosby and Gensel. And all of a sudden, some of these players you count on depth-wise for Pittsburgh, they haven't exactly been as good lately for them. That's been a little bit of an issue as well. And another thing, too, that bugs me is the Islanders have had 2 days off, whereas Pittsburgh had to play back-to-back over the weekend. Islanders haven't played since that game on Saturday against the Blues on a back-to-back where they got drubbed 6-1. You know, it feels like they want to atone and play better tonight as well. So I'd expect the effort to be good for the Islanders. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, you guys know I like Pittsburgh quite a bit, and I got them 8-1 to win the East, and they haven't looked great recently. But I'll continue to say it. I said it yesterday on the show with you, Ian. Their schedule's been hell. I mean, it's been absolutely hell. I mean, there's so many different narratives we can build off from this, but it's just a fact. I mean, they have been played very tough teams, and even when they've played lower tier teams, it's been kind of sandwiched in between the big games they've played. So, how many? I guess usually the expression is how many points, but how many cents of in the odds do we take Malkin into account? What's this price if Malkin's out there? Because to me, it is cheap, and I'm not gonna. But the Islanders are a great team in games they should win. In as a favorite, they're a great bet. But they're going to be a good team continuing on to end the season. But I think this is a game Pittsburgh gets up for. I think it's a game Pittsburgh plays well in. And again, usually I say, wow, this team has played so many games against a tough opponent. This might be a tough spot for them to get up for. But when you haven't been playing great hockey, it's like, hey, this is a team we should beat. Let's go out and do it type of thing. So I don't know. Some are saying this could be a quote for quote trap, but I think that the price is just too low to pass up on.
Yeah, the Sorokin does scare me a little bit. That's another thing. 6-2, 1.58 goals against, 951. I mean, just outstanding numbers in his last 8 starts. And to Smith, you look at him on the other side, it feels like they've got a huge edge in net. But there's a lot of edges elsewhere for Pittsburgh, obviously, in terms of the overall lineup. So interesting game. But Andrew's liking Pittsburgh. I agree. That's a cheap price on Pittsburgh. You can't look at this price and say Pittsburgh isn't cheap. Now the question is, do they get the win here tonight? All right, San Jose, Nashville. Nashville minus 210. Home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. So I do like Nashville in regulation. I also like over 5.5 here because the Sharks have been a team where lately their defense and goaltending has crumbled, regardless of Reimer, regardless of Kakkonen, who's been in net for them lately. They've struggled to keep the puck out. The penalty kill's not been good. Nashville should light them up. Nashville's definitely not had trouble scoring goals lately. And you get Nashville now off back-to-back losses against Florida and Pittsburgh over the weekend. No shame in that. Obviously, 2 very good teams. And now they need these points. They're facing a team that's down and out, that's lost 6 in a row, that's reeling mightily, the Sharks. They should take care of business. The one small little concern in the pit of my gut about this game is the last time Nashville played San Jose. They just embarrassed them 8-0. And I don't care what the team is or how good or bad they are. No team likes to be beaten 8-0. And the next time they play that team, there's usually a spirited effort. And I think you probably will see one from San Jose because, like I say, no team wants to be embarrassed like that and shellacked 8-0 the way the Sharks were earlier this season in the Shark Tank by this Predators team. That was that game where Alex Stalock in an emergency situation was the goalie for San Jose that night, and the Nashville Predators just beat him like a drum in that game, and it was ugly right from the onset. That's the only little mild concern I have for the Predators in regulation, but it's offset by the fact that San Jose's reeling. They're not winning games. They're not keeping the puck out, and Nashville's in a mood probably where they are not going to look past San Jose, even though they pummeled them earlier this year after losing to Florida and Pittsburgh back-to-back over the weekend. So Predators, again, not assured of anything yet. Yeah, they have the first wild card spot, but still have work to do, and I think the work begins tonight. I still like them in regulation, even with that San Jose trying to save face from an embarrassing loss to them earlier. I still like Nashville and reg, and I like over 5.5. Jimmy, what do you think? Sharks, Preds?
It's a Jimmy pass.
All right, Andrew.
Over 5.5 for me. San Jose has been, embarrassing themselves with some goals they've been allowing in recently, but I think that, they're still going to give up goals, and Nashville's going to come out really hungry. I think we could see, kind of a 5-2, 5-3 victory here for Nashville, and we can sail this one over the total here, 5.5. So I think it should be a 6 here. I don't like that 5.5. Well, I guess I do like it, but I don't think it should be there. So I'll just on the over. No play on the side.
All right, next up, we've got Edmonton and Minnesota. One of our marquee games for sure tonight on this card for this massive Tuesday 14-game card. We got the Minnesota Wild -130, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. I lean Edmonton, and I still do. I mentioned Edmonton yesterday. I like the way they're playing lately. The Colorado game, they deserved the 2 points. Simple as that. They were robbed of it by Darcy Kemper. They outplayed the Avalanche. They took the game out of the Avalanche in that game. Deserved better than a shootout loss. But Minnesota is a force at home. And we saw what they can do against LA on home ice. Turn it up, 3-0 deficit. They fall behind, and they can roar back with what they're capable of. And you look at Edmonton, too. I mean, a lot of big games lately. They got another one here against the Wild. I just feel, and I don't feel like now, but at +110, is the best price imaginable to take the Oilers. So lean Oilers, but I don't love it. I'll maybe look for something in game. This is a perfect betcast game for me because I like Edmonton. I like the over. I think we might get a slow start. I think it's possible that these two goalies tonight, Talbot against a team that he has a history with, Edmonton, and Koskinen for Edmonton, could keep the teams off the score sheet at least for a little bit, and then we're going to get a better in-game number with the over. So that's the way I'm looking. Pre-game, I lean Edmonton. Pre-game, I lean over. Let's see if maybe in the betcast tonight, we'll see if something opens up for us. Jimmy, what do you think? Oilers Wild.
Yeah, this is a good one. I think this is another game, too. I mean, there's a lot of great games tonight. We mentioned the Rangers and Carolina, the Bruins and the Blues. This is another one I'm looking forward to as well. I think this will be a fun playoff series, to be honest. And I think so because I think there'd be a lot of goals. So give me the over in this game. I'm going to stay away from the side, but give me the over in this.
All right, Jimmy, liking goals. I like goals too. I'm just going to see if I can get something a little bit better than 6.5 in game with this one. But again, Minnesota, we've talked all year about the overtrain that it's been at home. I think it's leveled off lately. Like if you actually look at the last several games for Minnesota at home, they haven't been necessarily quite as strong to the over on home ice compared to earlier in the season. But, that being said, still for the entire season, 22-11 to the over for the Minnesota Wild on home ice. Like I said, it's leveled off a little bit, I would say, the last month. There have been more unders for Minnesota in their home games, but still overall for the year, 22-11 team to the over on home ice. Andrew, it's a great game. What do you like here, Edmonton, Minnesota?
I like watching as a fan, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that tonight.
It's a good decision, too. Exactly. I agree with that. When you don't have a strong opinion on a big game, that's okay. You can watch it and enjoy it. Kings and Blackhawks. LA Kings -145, road favorites, 6 the total. Tough news for the Kings. Drew Doughty's obviously lost a step since the LA King Cup days and Daryl Sutter behind the bench. Obviously, he's not quite at that level anymore, but he's still a guy that is a big force on the blue line because of the minutes he plays, all the situations he plays, 5-on-5, penalty kill, power play, and now to hear that his season is done. Very unfortunate news for the LA Kings. And the LA Kings, I mentioned it yesterday, they are suddenly very much...
I'm worried about you, man.
I know. It's just
You're making me
it's like someone's just grabbing the throat inside me. And
Take some water, brother. Take some water.
I should. There we go.
We're gonna get this show sponsored by a medicine company,
Penolin or something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's what I do. I got to take sips of water in between games. I don't do that enough, so that's my fault. But when I look at this game here, LA obviously had a great start against Minnesota, but fell apart after that, 6-3. they can't screw around. They could still miss the playoffs entirely. They are that close to missing. Like they could fall down to they're in third in the division. They're tied with Dallas right now in terms of points, and Dallas has the second wild card spot right now in the Western Conference. So they keep losing. Vegas, who's in the Pacific Division, could catch them because they're only 2 back of LA right now. There's a scenario LA misses the playoffs. It's very real now, and they need wins, and they need to take care of business in a spot. This is kind of like what I said about Dallas on Sunday against Chicago. This Blackhawks team is just hideous right now. Even Alex, our great friend and Blackhawk fan, will agree. This team is just pathetic in their own end. They don't get saves from any of their goalies. Lankin and Delia is going to be in net tonight. Colin Delia, you're breaking my heart, shaking my confidence daily. Colin Delia here tonight for the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't trust that guy one bit either. I mean, his numbers have been rough this year for the Blackhawks. Well, let me bring them up right now. 3.88 goals against average, 902 save percentage. If this is LA tonight, Todd McClellan, you say, no screwing around, no dicking around. This has to be win time for the LA Kings tonight. I like them minus 145. I don't like playing moderate road prices very often, but I'm going to do it tonight with them minus 145. I like the over too. I actually got 5.5. I like it at 6-2 because I think this is an offensive explosion waiting to happen for the LA Kings. And by the way, they're shuffling up the blue line tonight again, Chicago and Derek King. And it just so happens that 2 of the guys that are out, or one of them is Calvin DeHaan, and he's one of the few guys that plays good defense in his own end for this hockey team. And now you take him out, and you've got just basically on the blue line here, Riley Stillman, Alec Regula, Jake McCabe, Seth Jones, Alex Vlasic. You've got a bunch of holes there on that blue line, and I don't like it one bit for the Blackhawks tonight going into this game. So this is like, to me, Dallas, Chicago on Sunday. This feels like Vegas and Arizona on Saturday, where, look, teams coming off a loss, but they're playing a team that should be beaten, that has to be beaten, and I expect them to. Just like Vegas shellacked Arizona, Dallas, wasn't as easy as they wanted, but they did take care of Chicago eventually 6-4 on Sunday night. I think LA does the same tonight. Kings and over the total for me. Jimmy, Kings, Blackhawks.
Well, before I give you my pick here, I'll one-up you on a song reference. I mean, how do you not go with Delia's Gone by Johnny Cash?
Yes.
You got to have that right there because you might be singing that after the season he's having, right? Anyhow, look.
Imagine they play that, Jimmy. He's like skating off the ice. They just play that song.
And the words to that are a little harsh, though.
Yes.
It's about him killing his wife. But anyhow,
yeah.
I look at this as a lot of goals too, and that's a huge loss for Drew Doughty there. I mean, not only is he having a respectable season, he's having a great season by most accounts for defensemen. I mean, he had, let me see here, 7 goals and 24 assists in 39 games. He was paired up, of course, with Dursey, who I think has benefited greatly being next to him, has learned a lot from him. So now how will he be without his mentor on the blue line with him there? This could really screw things up for the Kings. I know they get Dustin Brown back tonight, but this is a really big loss. And like you said, they've been kind of fading and fluttering there, and they could easily fall out of this playoff race. So they better watch it. But I'll stay away from the side. I'm going to go with goals. Give me the over.
All right, liking the over. How about Andrew, LA, Chicago?
I'm right there with you guys. I'm going to stay away from the side as well. I think Chicago, I think we're going to get some compete level out of them tonight, but it's kind of like what I said about an earlier game. The compete level just won't be enough. We're going to get it. I think we're going to get 1 or 2 goals from them, but I think the Kings are going to do the bulk of the scoring in this one. But I'm going to just elect to go with the over 6 in this one. I think it could be a competitive game, and then the third period, we see the Kings kind of separate it and win by 1 or 2 goals here. So I like the over, though, over 6.
All right, liking goals as well here, Andrew, with the over between the Kings and the Blackhawks. All right, next up on the Tuesday slate, we've still got a bunch of games to go. Seattle and Calgary next up. Calgary minus 450, home favorites, 6 the total, pretty much across the board. I don't have much other than maybe look at props. I certainly won't be betting the side or total pregame. I do think, for the Kraken, believe it or not, there's a couple of guys that have been noticeable lately for them offensively. I keep going back to Jared McCann, what he's been able to do. And by the way, I want to point out we've got another one of these late season call-ups that is about to make his NHL debut. Matt Beniers tonight for the Seattle Kraken. Very highly touted center, and is going to be looking like he's going to be slotted. And boy, I'll tell you what, 19 years old, Matt Beniers out of Michigan, who had 20 goals, 43 points there with the Wolverines in college this year. Dave Axtell not messing around. We're not only putting you in the lineup tonight, Matty Beniers, we're putting you on the top line center spot tonight. So if you look at player props tonight, if anyone's going to have the balls to post Beniers, and give me some kind of crazy price on him, not realizing he's on the top line, those are those great situations to take advantage of, to maybe for a goal scorer prop or a points prop on Beniers, if you can find one for Seattle tonight. As well, Ryan Donato's moving up to the top line because he's been really, really picking it up offensively lately for the Kraken. He's collected points in 4 of the last 5 games. His points prop, I think, is worth a look on the Seattle side. As far as Calgary goes, the usual suspects. Lindholm, Johnny Gaudreau. You go with any of those two in particular right now. Can't go wrong at the moment. So this is more of a, I'm going to get involved in some player props type of game for me than betting the side or total. Jimmy, Seattle, Calgary.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Matty Beniers there. I know him well. I know his family well. He's a Hingham, Mass native. Played for the Cape Cod Whalers for one of my buddies around here. So I'm happy for him that he's getting his chance in the NHL now. And I'm going to go with a little goal prop on that. Why not? Give me a little goal prop on Matty Beniers to pot one home there. But other than that, that will be the only bright spot for the Seattle Kraken in this one. Give me the Calgary Flames on the puck line.
Yeah, the Calgary will probably win. My only contention is, if you didn't take Calgary at Seattle, why would you now take them tonight and lay a bigger number in what could be maybe a little bit of an unfocused spot for Calgary? They already beat this team just a few days ago in Seattle, 4-1. They're after the road trip back home now. To me, this is not the spot to lay 450. I'm not saying Calgary will lose the game, but you know what I mean? I mean, they were a better price in Seattle. They're a worse price now, and it's a worse spot because they already beat this team. Are they focused? They come home. The distractions that players go through when they come home after a road trip. So to me, that's why it's a tough game. But at the same time, do you trust Seattle to actually beat this Calgary team? Not really. So that's why it's tough. Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I love what you guys are saying there, and I think it's not really a thing to avoid looking at somebody like that for a goal scoring prop, because it's kind of like in baseball with pitching. I really believe it. Teams have no scouting report. It's a huge thing. Back in my hometown, we're supporting the Barron brothers. Morgan Barron scored his first goal in a Jets jersey last night. He was upwards of plus 450 to score, and a couple of my friends that played hockey with him growing up, they actually bet on him to score there. And this is the same situation here. So cool situation. Jimmy knows the family. Jimmy knows him, and hopefully he can pot one. But I agree. I mean, other than that, it might be the best bright spot of the game. I think it's going to be a blowout spot here. I think this might be my alternative puck line game of the day with the Calgary Flames minus 2.5 here. So we'll see. There's some good value on that, even though it's minus 450 on the money line. But I don't think the Kraken can hang around.
By the way, I'm seeing plus 380 for Matty Beniers' goal scorer prop, and he's top line center tonight, and he's plus 140 just to get a point. So I think a sprinkle on both of those is worth it. Top line, I mean, almost plus 400 to score a goal, and he's going to be the top line center, almost plus 140 to collect a point, and he's going to be on the top line center with Donato and Eberle, his line mates, who have been really the only two guys you can really get anything offensively from for a large part of the year, especially lately from the Kraken. McCann's actually had a good year, but after that, there's a huge drop-off with Seattle. So, it's certainly a good situation, and the price certainly fits as well. Next up, we got Tampa Bay, Dallas. We've got Tampa minus 160, road favorite, 6 the total. This is another pass for me. I mean, Dallas needs the game. It's a huge 2 points they need right now, considering Vegas just doesn't give them any breathing room. They are right now just 2 points ahead of Vegas for that final spot, that second and final wild card spot. So I don't want to go against Dallas in this spot, but you know what I mean? They're going up against a very good Tampa team, a Tampa Bay team that maybe finally flipped the switch the other night. That was as good as I've seen them play in several games, beating down Buffalo 5-0. Brian Elliott getting the shutout in that game. We know Tampa Bay's better than this team, and we know Dallas is flighty and erratic and untrustworthy enough to lose a game like this against a superior team like the Lightning. So this is definitely going to be a game I pass on here. Betcast for sure. Maybe we'll find something. Jimmy, what do you think here? Lightning Stars.
I'm liking the Stars here, guys. It's a big game for the Stars right now. Obviously, a big game for Tampa as well. But I think the Stars know that they have an ability, they have a chance to catch LA, to get some steam going towards the playoff race here. So give me the Dallas Stars on the money line.
All right, Dallas plus 140 here. A little home dog action here for Jimmy
woof, woof.
In this one. Woof, woof, indeed. All right, Andrew, Tampa Bay, Dallas.
Yeah, I'm going to stay off here. I kind of lean Tampa, but I don't like the price that much. And honestly, Dallas is the more desperate team, like Jimmy said. I have kind of listed as Dallas as kind of a sell team this week, but it's kind of a gutty call to make them a sell team because, of course, there's so many, they need these games and all the games are very important to them. But let's not forget Tampa Bay had like a several game streak where they just played like shit. I mean, they played horribly and they played down to their competition. So, they got it together on Sunday night and we'll see if they can kind of rally from that. It was against Buffalo, of course, but Dallas, they got it done against Chicago. We'll see if they can do it against the mean team like Tampa Bay, the back-to-back Cup champs. But plus 140 is a good price. But, you got the Wild coming up. I believe the Avalanche coming up as well. The only easy team for the Dallas Stars coming up is the Sharks. And that'll have to be a big game for them. But it's not a good schedule for the Stars this coming week.
Yeah. It just feels like, there is definitely, you'd like to think plus 140. And that's why I wish Jimmy the best here. Home underdog, it's a huge 2 points for them. It's just more important for them to get the 2 points right now than Tampa. But they are the Dallas Stars. And by the way, interesting, Rick Bowness turning to Scott Wedgwood tonight in net in this game. He has been confirmed as the starting goalie for the Stars. Vasilevsky, of course, in net for Tampa. And I want to point out, Wedgwood was very good even in a losing effort against Toronto. I thought he kept them in the game. They had 40 shots, Toronto. And it could have been probably worse for the Stars in that game. And the reason they got a point was Wedgwood. So we'll see if he plays well here. I also want to mention, because I neglected to mention the goaltending matchups the last couple games. It's Chris Drieger versus Jacob Markstrom in the Seattle-Calgary game. And it is Capo Kakinen and UC Saros confirmed in the San Jose Nashville game. So that's where we were going with goalies. All right. We haven't even hit an hour yet into this show, and we're down to our last 2 games on a 14-game card. So that's not bad in terms of keeping it at a decent pace, at least. New Jersey and Arizona.
I'll skip to the chase here. I have absolutely nothing on this game.
There you go. Nothing at all. Well, I do, actually. It's funny you mentioned that. Devils minus 145, road favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. 2 teams playing for exercise, 2 of the worst teams. In fact, I think points-wise, they are the 2 worst teams in the National Hockey League right now. Arizona's 16 points and New Jersey 17. No, Montreal's got 51 points for Montreal. Arizona's got 49. Now, Arizona is the worst. New Jersey's got 56. So New Jersey, they're not the 2 worst. New Jersey's just a little ahead of Montreal, but Arizona is the worst team, least amount of points in the NHL. So Devils minus 145, 6. I like the over here. I mean, it's very, very simple decision for me. It's 2 teams that go out, score some goals. I think New Jersey will, because that's the one thing they still can do pretty well. Even without Jack Hughes remains out for them at this point in time for the Devils. They've still been able to chip in on the scoreboard. They scored 3 in an upset win against Dallas, 4 against Montreal, 3 against the Islanders. So we've seen them score. And Arizona, more than anything, I don't want to say they've given up defensively, and their goaltending from Vemelka's just been really horrible lately, rancid. But they're just really, really having a tough time, keeping the puck out with this AHL lineup. And that's what Arizona's got, an AHL lineup with everyone out, Clayton Keller and Lawson Krause, and go on, and Chikrin, and go on down the list of who's out for Arizona. It's not just a bunch of players and a team with no depth. It's a bunch of really their key players. Their most important players are the ones that are out right now for Arizona. And it's affected them defensively too, because Krause in particular is a good 2-way forward. And look at what we're seeing from Arizona right now. 6 allowed to Vegas, 5 allowed to Vancouver, 5 allowed to St. Louis. It's been rough during these last 3 games. They haven't kept the puck out of their own net. 16 goals allowed in the last 3 games combined by Arizona. So I think New Jersey scores a bunch, but I think Arizona does too. It's not like the Devils are a shutdown defensive team by any stretch of the imagination, and we might be seeing the Hamburglar in net, and he's been awful. Whatever good play he had in Montreal, it's not traveled with him here to New Jersey. He's been horrendous. I don't know what it was. There's something special about being in Montreal there, but the Hamburglar is robbing his own team of 2 points on a nightly basis with his.
Come on, Ian. Come on. Give him a break.
He's been horrible, Andrew, here in New Jersey.
I know.
I can't explain why. I mean, in Montreal, he played some pretty nice games. They won some games with him there. He gets to New Jersey, and he's looking like Martin Jones, Mr. Beach Ball number 2 right now for this Devils team. So Arizona can find the back of the net. I know they've struggled to find the back of the net, but this is a Devils defense. It's been brutal most of the season. He's given up 13 goals, by the way, in his last 2 starts, Andrew Hammond. So, and right now he's projected to be the goalie, not confirmed, but projected. So for me, it's over the total. And I want to mention a key player prop here. Find it, because this is insane. He is plus, in some cases, 550 or plus 500 to plus 550 to score a goal tonight for the New Jersey Devils. And I know DJ Mitchell, guest on the show, is on top of this as well. He is going to be playing on the top line for New Jersey tonight. Fabian Zetterlund. He's a 22-year-old left winger. He got more ice time. They've already moved him up on Saturday against Dallas. He had 2 points, both of them assists. If you can find a points prop on him, look for one, bet it. I haven't seen one yet, but I would certainly bet it if I find one, a points prop. Fabian Zetterlund here for the New Jersey Devils. But a couple books have posted his goal scorer prop. And like I said, we're talking plus 550 for him to score a goal for New Jersey tonight. And he is on the top line for the Devils tonight for the very first time, likely to be playing alongside. I'm just trying to see who they've got him slotted with Sharon Govich and with Hischier tonight for the Devils on their top line. It is absolutely a must bet for me. The goal scorer prop plus 550. And damn it, I hope someone posts a points prop on him too, because that will be a must bet too if I find one before puck drop. This guy's going to be on the top line. We know Arizona's hemorrhaging goals right now to the opposition. Plus 550 to score a goal. I mean, and hopefully they post a points prop on the guy too. Fabian Zetterlund is his name. Remember the name. And don't be shocked if he finds the back of the net tonight for the New Jersey Devils on that top line. Jimmy, what do you think here? Devils, Coyotes.
Yeah, I'm going to do the double over. Give me the over in the first. Give me the over total.
All right. Andrew, New Jersey. I know you already said you don't have much, but anything you want to add on the game?
Yeah, I would kind of, I like the full game, but this is kind of one of those ones where I just, for some reason, I can't explain it. I feel like it'd be a fast start here to this one. So I'm going to go first period over 2 again, plus money.
All right. Alan Action. Can you spell that? Well, Fabian, Fabian. That's the easy one. But Zetterlund's pretty easy too. Zetterlund. There you go. There you go. A little spelling.
Ding. You're on to the next round.
On to the next round. Get me on that script spelling bee right now. Let's go. I'm a little too old for that now. I don't think.
All right, now spell Sharon Govich.
SharanGovich.
Okay.
Did that nice and quick too. Sharon Govich. SharanGovich. Sharon Govich. Ding. There we go. I tell it's a crazy show with a lot of games. We're getting goofy here in the final games.
I messed that one up though, Ian. They usually ding it if you're wrong. So that was my bad.
Yeah, you're right. It's silence. You're right when you're correct. I think so. Tells you I'm in and out of those spelling bees. I just put them on for a couple minutes, so I'm not an expert in how the rules are and what the sound effects are for getting it right or getting it wrong. But we want to be getting it right and getting it wrong with our bets here on this Tuesday card. So with that in mind, let's get to the final game. One of the big games tonight. Absolutely. Vegas Golden Knights, Vancouver Canucks. Vegas minus 135. Road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. I'm going to, out of respect to Vancouver and the way they're fighting the good fight and the way they've battled their way back into this thing, I'm going to stay off the side. But I really do lean to Vegas here, minus 135 tonight in this game. Vancouver 4 points back of Vegas. And they don't even have the final spot. Dallas does. They're 6 points behind Dallas for that second spot. But still, Vegas is ahead of them. Got to win this game if you're Vancouver. And I've liked the way they've battled through some unfortunate injuries. Like Tanner Pearson's been out for several games. Niels Hoaglander's missed time. Brock Besser is going to be out again tonight for the Canucks. And yet they've overcome that. They've won, they beat down Arizona. They pummeled Vegas after losing in Vancouver to them. And they kept it going with a win against San Jose on Saturday. I mean, the Canucks are not giving in and giving up on this playoff spot. But I think with Vegas, they're not a team I want to mess with right now, especially after I saw them just put the boots to Arizona. And, you look at this spot here, they're getting healthier. It looks like now Mark Stone is a potential to return tonight. He's going to be a game-time decision. They already have Max Pacioretty back as well. And you put them with Eichel and Dodonov and Carlson and Marchessault and Stevenson and Nicholas Waugh. And, you're starting to finally see this team get their key cogs back. Really right now we're talking about Laurent Brossoit, Nick Hague, Brett Howden, and Will Carrier, and Riley Smith still out. But slowly but surely this team is getting their ducks in a row, getting everybody healthy. And I still say if Vegas gets in, and it's still an if, because they're on the outside looking in right now, but if they get in, they are dangerous as anybody when they're fully healthy. And Leonard, of course, is a big part of that as well. And he's back now as well for them. So I get that sense for Vegas, with their playoff history and the experience they've got. Pacioretty came back the last game. Stone could be back tonight. This could be, let's take care of business here. Let's get 2 points. We need it. Tie Dallas and really end any hopes the Vancouver Canucks have. So, and I think they're good enough to do it. So not betting it, but I do have a lean to Vegas if I were to bet this from a side perspective, minus 135 in this game. As far as the total goes, Vegas has been an over machine at home, not nearly as much on the road. And of course, we know on the road, they've also struggled to win some games, for the better part of the last month. But again, a lot of that was when they were shorthanded. They're getting a lot of their key players back. So I just think they've got the right mentality tonight to go into Vancouver, win this game. And I think at some point, you don't have Pearson, you don't have Besser, guys that have really been good for you offensively since Bruce Boudreau got there. You're eventually going to feel the absence potentially against a team like Vegas. Jimmy, what do you think here? Great game, important game in the West, Vegas, Vancouver.
Yeah, this is a great game. I'm going to go with the Vegas Golden Knights as well. In fact, I'm giving a Jimmy puck line on it, and I like them to go in and take care of business. Vancouver's just hurting too much right now, and Mark Stone coming back is huge for them. So give me the Vegas Golden Knights minus 1.5.
Yeah. And by the way, the San Jose win, they got it done, but it wasn't pretty. They really, really gutted that one out against obviously a struggling San Jose team, kind of like I'm gutting it out with my nagging cough here for the last several days. Andrew, what do you think here? Golden Knights, Canucks.
Yeah, I'm on Vegas. I had Vancouver in that game against Vegas at T-Mobile. It was kind of a bad spot for them, I thought. Obviously, third time they've played in the last week and a half-ish. And, as much as I would have liked for it to happen, I think Vancouver's, they're fatigued. Every game's been a must-win for them. The healthier Vegas gets, the cheap price, I think, on this one, I think it's a good spot for Vegas. So my voice is dying. I have no water in here, and I'm pretty much done for the show here. That's my best bet of the night, actually, Vegas. So give me the Knights.
There you go. Vegas minus 135 for Andrew. Also his best bet for the Tuesday NHL card. And there's something I was going to say. I forgot, but that's okay. It'll come back to me probably tonight when we do the bet cast. But great stuff with Jimmy and Andrew. Like just a little over an hour to get through all 14 games. That's pretty impressive stuff right there. Great stuff with Jimmy and Andrew for this massive Tuesday card. And don't forget to join us tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, Betcast. I can't be talking for the whole Betcast, all right? As you can clearly tell. So we need guests. We need people stepping up and joining us on the.
We need guests that are going to talk, though.
Yes.
Not just come on and chill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, say something. You're watching the games like us. If there's something you see, talk about it. It's what it is. It's just, shoot the shit, shoot the baloney, as we like to say. It's a pub bar type atmosphere with the Betcast. So join us. If you want to join us on the Betcast, just send me a DM and I'll make sure I send you the StreamYard link for the Betcast before it begins. DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner, of course, of the NHL. New customers can bet just $1 on any NHL team, get $150 in free bets if that team wins. take advantage of your chance to light the lamp. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state, you can still play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Hockey Contest. DraftKings giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet just $1 on any NHL team and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Must be 21 years of age or older. Must reside in a DraftKings Sportsbook state. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. All right, best bets now to wrap up the Tuesday card. Andrew, we know yours, Vegas -135, so there it is. I'm just reiterating it. Jimmy, what do you got for us for best bet?
My best bet's going to be the St. Louis Blues to go into Boston and win on the money line straight up.
All right, St. Louis +110 against Boston for best bet for Jimmy Murphy. My best bet is we're going to crown the LA Kings tonight, -145 against the Chicago Blackhawks. Don't screw around. Chicago is dead as a doornail the last several games. They have no defense, no goaltending. It's time to step up for the LA Kings. You want the playoffs? This is a game you got to get, and I think they will against this hopeless, floundering Chicago team. LA Kings -145 against the Chicago Blackhawks for my best bet for this Tuesday NHL card. And that's a wrap for this mammoth edition of the Ice Guys. We're back in a few hours with the BetCast, 7 p.m. Eastern. Join us for that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the Ice Guys podcast if you can't watch the show live. For Andrew McInnis and Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we'll see you in about 3.5 hours for the BetCast, the Tuesday Live BetCast, courtesy of the Ice Guys, and presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.